You ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's a button I wanted to hit, but I hit the wrong button. Now where it gets on button at.
Middle.
Okay.
Have you had a chance to read the minutes?
Yes, I didn't see anything. I read it real quick.
There was a correction to the minutes pointed out to me by the clerk, that it was noted that we were incorrect making our motion on the budget for the district court clerk. We actually read the amount of, that's the $80,000 figure that was quoted in the motion was actually the limit. Is that correct?
That's right.
And that the total correct budget figure was $36,445. You had that in here, didn't you, in the blue folder?
Yes.
What happened was, this is the figure, 80,000 got quoted here, but actually proposed budget's 36,445. Which, reading this, I mean, it says proposed budget year 2018 is 80,000, but the wrong line was picked up. So, do I hear a motion to?
With that correction, I so move, Mr. Chairman, we approve the minutes.
I've got a question. Do we need to go back and also vote on this to correct this? Because the motion was actually made for 80,000 at 80,000. Wouldn't we need to go back and?
I would think it would just need to be corrected in the minutes, yeah.
The minutes is official.
The minutes are official,
Last word.
correct. I think we need a correction to the motion. We would need to.
Okay, that the motion should have, okay. So we're actually correct, need a motion to correct this motion. Am I right?
I think the minutes should stand as read because that's what was approved.
Right.
And then I think you need to basically, at this meeting today, make a motion to amend the approval of the.
So should we
budget.
correct the
To
minutes
correct them.
as that they were correct and then go back?
The minutes are correct. Right.
Okay. So you made the motion to accept the minutes.
With the correction.
Well, we can't correct it yet.
Because basically it's not incorrect because it was the motion was made and it was approved, it passed to do it for the 80,000 because the 80,000 amount figure was put in there. So there's not really a correction that we need to make on the minutes themselves because the minutes are showing the actual motion that was made and approved. What we need to do in this meeting is we need to basically look at the item again because the figure that was given on the motion was an incorrect figure. So we need to basically just re-look at it to make sure that we note the correct amount versus the 80,000.
So the minutes are correct of what was stated. So we would need a motion to accept the minutes as written.
I so move.
Okay, and I'll second that. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Passed 2-0. Now, should we go directly into this while we have it fresh on our minds? And then I would need a motion to go back to the budget for the First Judicial District and correct the figure from $80,000 to $36,445.
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll second that. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Passed 2-0. Okay.
I'm glad you caught that, Michelle.
Somebody else that kind of called me on it. Only because they knew last year what the amount was.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm glad we caught it because we need to make sure it's correct.
Commissioner comments and committee reports.
Oh, I have a project concern a week from tomorrow. And that's all I've had. I was contacted by a person that wanted to bring up a group of people that's going to be here today, but that'll be in the minutes and on camera and everything. That's all I have.
Okay. I have an NEKES and kneecap July 20th. That's on Thursday. NEKES is in the morning and kneecap's that evening, so we've got a twofer. Other than that, just as an aside, I did go to the Lancaster parade last night. They had a nice little parade. Chatted with quite a few constituents. It was a nice get-together.
I did also, it's not really, but I got a positive comment text to me on my phone where one of the commissioners from Lancaster thanked me for county helping clean up the brush.
I
There was
received
just a
one.
phone number. I didn't know who. I presume Larry Myers, but I wouldn't.
Yes.
Sure.
Well, I received one from Larry. So it was a thank you from the city commission
Yes.
for the county and their help on the storm damage.
Yes.
Reports of elected officials and department heads. I don't see anybody here. New business before the board.
County council updates or unfinished
Yeah.
business.
Pat, do you have anything for us?
Tax sale deeds, I think, are going to be recorded today. So, keeping up to date that for the sale in May. Let's see.
Did you see if you could get hold of Joe if he's available?
I haven't had an opportunity yet.
Let's see.
I did talk with Peggy House about the employee retention agreements, and she actually was gone Friday and won't be back.
Yeah, she was telling us she was on vacation.
So those are done, but not signed. That's all I have.
Okay. I'm going to stretch this out. Oh, Jeff's coming back. We had a letter from Jeff from the
He said he'd be
Rotary.
back at 1:30.
Next week I have a court hearing in the afternoon. I'm not sure how long it'll take, but I will not be here for probably the bulk of the meeting. It's posted 1 as well, so I won't be here.
Okay, Pat's gone next week. You said both morning and afternoon, or?
I should be here, well, I should be here in the morning.
Have you had a chance to look at the bills?
No,
That's the start of them.
I think Pat.
I did with them.
Oh, you looked at it. Okay.
Did somebody get in touch with Joe Bowen about coming?
Kurt said he had one time.
I haven't had a chance.
Michelle's probably got a contact number.
I needed to text him.
Oh, one other thing. I had a call from did I bring this up last week? Dr. Epley about he would like to see a couple changes on the ambulance. He would like to go from an LMD tube to an iGel tube. And I got a hold of Corey and told him, he said, well, they was kind of 50-50. And I gave him Dr. Epley's number and he was going to contact him. Because Dr. Epley said the iGel tube, when they come in there, they like them better for whatever reason. And then he would also like to change something about a V-scope. And Corey said that they're doing that now. And then Corey called Dr. Epley to discuss stuff. No complaints with the service, very happy. The hospital is very happy with it.
Good.
So, by looking at this bill here, we seen a detained person sent to the hospital because of a headache, and the bill was $330. Then we ended up paying $37 for a person that has a headache. They go that far.
They have a healthcare contractor that's charges that particular individual, how much to say, open section. It was more to it than simply that.
Oh, they just got headache listed on the
They don't take people just when they want to go. They're treated. They have a nurse that.
I would find something like that. We do little. Okay, that's answered my question.
There's another charge.
I don't know if you'd possibly know this because this was for emergency management, but maybe you know through Wes, but it was a bill for $250 natural insect repellent, $697. What would that, is that for spraying? Okay. That's what I'm going to ask him about. Yeah, the amount ordered was $250, so
Who's in charge to what?
emergency management.
Oh.
spraying for, well, that's a possibility too, but that, because the next bill is 100 cooling towels. Those,
These be kept in order or not?
yeah, it might as well be, but those are the next ones to look at if you want to look at these. And that's on the bottom. See, that just seemed like that's high if those are giveaways. I'm gonna pull them.
We paid $1,800 to get a cylinder repaired? Wow.
What was it for?
You ought to check that place over there at Valley Falls Rock Quarry. It'd be a third of that, or probably more than that.
I don't think he's at that rock quarry.
Yeah, he is. He's still at the rock quarry, isn't he? Behind the rock quarry, that other cylinder placer.
Phil,
Yeah,
oh, what's his last name?
that's his first name.
Phil.
That's very good and real reasonable. But I didn't know he wasn't still there.
I thought that he had retired. Thompson. Phil Thompson.
Like on that, it's cheaper to pay mileage.
Hmm?
Cheaper to pay mileage. Topeka, that's not that far.
Exactly there. We got dead time. Seth, do you have anything you want to address before?
No, I sent them out there, but we're waiting on them. I told them they can come in anytime.
Okay.
They're out there.
There's a couple, but they're waiting on a couple others. But I told them they
Mary, do you have anything you want to ask us about? No? Okay. Okay. Sure.
I really need to learn about that tax year though. I want to make sure I'm kind of clear on it. Right everybody.
Okay. No. Come on in. Don't be shy.
Better shut this off, Edward.
Yeah.
Is this your pad? We may get a sign-in sheet started.
Yeah, we are being taped, so. Who's your spokesman?
Yeah, I don't know, I just, thought I'd like to talk to you commissioners and ask about that road out there.
Okay.
I mean, we saw it be ripped up and then it's coming and paved it, but then, you know, the first, I don't know how many, well, within the first mile, she's breaking up again. And squishing out and everything else. I mean, we've been fighting that for years. Here, you know, we finally think we're gonna get us a good road and get a good solid road. And semis drive that constantly in there.
Mm-hmm.
And, your brand new asphalt, it's gonna be, patched over again. Within how long?
Do you know what that?
I do know what he's talking about. It's on the furthest south side where we first started. We hadn't, well, when we were looking at the road, that area on the east side that's completely rutted, we just had no signs of, you know, it settling there. So we didn't expect that at all. On the west side, we did notice there was some problem areas over there, and we're actually fixing those currently. Our goal was to get that road covered as soon as possible, because the longer it stays exposed, the longer it's getting torn up. But, you know, we're currently working on those roadside shoulders on that west side, so there's our worst side. The east side, we honestly couldn't tell you why it did that, but the only thing I can think of is we're actually laying it a little bit thicker. And I know right after we got done laying that, a truck came through with a dozer on it, and it left a huge rut through it. So that started it, but, you know, I'm unsure why underneath of all that it failed.
So, I mean, one truck with a dozer, what's it gonna be when you got loaded semis coming there? I'll bet you through harvest time, in a daytime, in one day, I bet you there's at least 10 to 15, maybe 20 semis run that road
Correct.
from Jefferson County. And Jefferson County over there built that road in 1960. They put a base on it, they've hardly done anything to that road. They laid it, and hardly nothing was done to it. This Curly Road seems like they're passing it all the time. And is that the way it's gonna be again, or what? That's my question. I mean, if you're gonna go and put it down now, and it's gonna keep costing you money every other year,
Mm-hmm.
why not spend a little more money and get it a good base and done right, like Jefferson County, where you put it down and it's there.
I have a question, Seth. Is it cheaper to scrape the whole road? How many miles you have there? Many miles. Is it cheaper just, did a company come in and do that?
Correct. The
Okay.
goal with that was, I don't know if you've ever, you drove that road, you were always up and down.
Yes.
The goal
130,
of that
wasn't
was to eliminate that, to
130?
make that slope back in that road. A lot of the problem is the water
One voluntary.
So that was part of the goal, was to eliminate that, get the slope back in the road, come back in and overlay it.
So it would cost more money just to do scrape a mile at a time, pave a mile at a time?
We would have probably never got a company that wanted to come in to do a mile, because we had to contract that work out.
Yeah, so the company, they wanted to do it all.
Yes, if they're gonna come in, to get the best bang for your buck, you'd have to do the entire project.
Okay, then the areas that you've marked, those are soft spots?
Correct.
And how do you fill those then?
What we're doing now, we're digging them out. If they're still wet, way underneath, we're digging them a lot deeper. We're packing some rock in there. If we feel like we're gonna have problems with rock stain, we're pouring concrete into them. The majority of the time, we're digging down to about a foot, and it's solid. So we're putting AB3 rock back in, packing it back in, and we should be pretty good to go. Most of that on top. What has happened over the years, that road was probably only 18 foot wide when it started, and a rock road at that. And over the years, as they patched it, slowly they've gone out to about 20 to 24, anywhere in there. We're getting up to 26 foot wide in some of those areas. So all there is in there, and we didn't project that, but they're getting nothing after they build that up. It's
Where
just
are
nothing.
you 26 foot wide?
Oh, there's certain areas I could go out there with a tape measure and it's
I
showing.
taped some of that road,
More of it's
and
up
it's
north.
23 and a half.
Yeah, most of it's up north. The 20 to 24s are all down south.
and Jefferson County Road is 25.
How much is it costing to do that
We're projected to hit about 750,000 for the entire project.
for the entire project? What would it cost to, in future reference, to do a base, a real base, and pave a mile?
Tear up a mile?
That's a heavy road, and now I live on Phillips, and I'm getting all the people that don't want to drive on Ottawa.
I would say, I mean, just from what we did at River Road, same type of deal. We, milled it all up, packed the base back in. You're looking at about $200,000 for that, and that's not even quite a mile.
Okay, so it'd be 200, how many
It
miles?
wouldn't be quite that much because we actually raised the road a foot down there. You're probably, we'd have to contract that work out. That's 9.5 miles. There's no way we could.
9.5 miles?
It would take months to get that.
So that's $2 million?
You'd be close to 2 million, if
Okay.
not more.
So 3 times what it's costing. It's heavy traffic on that road. That's unbelievable, the traffic.
Well, you got wider roads going east and west, of what you do that road right there.
When was that road first paved?
I'd say
We,
that early
this road
60s,
you're talking about?
Yeah, the Ottawa.
Oh, by 50s or 60s?
50s.
God, more than 40.
I think Jefferson County, theirs is put in around 60,
But see, when
early
they,
60s.
when they,
Well, I
they
put in-
asphalt on that road, they put all the rock in the middle and hauled it all off, then they put the asphalt down.
Ain't got the base.
They never did have any base because they scraped the rock off. And I work in Midwest office every day, they run. So it'd been a lot better if they had the rock on there, then put the asphalt on there. You guys are.
But you could go right over Jefferson County there, and their road, they put a base on their road, and that road is staying. They haven't done much to that road, have they, Scott?
No, they just chip and seal it back
Yeah.
for 4 years.
Yeah. And here,
They don't have
you
no
know,
soft spots.
Would it have been better if we wouldn't have ground that other off, or what was in this?
I mean,
We had some base.
it would have helped, but, I mean, we still have been the same problems of the still have soft spots regardless.
Well,
And you'd still have the uneven.
And the road.
The road is so uneven.
well, you get going with a semi, you're constantly there fighting.
Mhm.
It's pulling you this way and that way and everything.
Even with the car.
Yeah, we talked about trying to just do an inch, but when we got to looking at some areas, there was, 3 inches of difference in there, so we figured we'd go with the 2. Not ever having it milled up before, we figured we'd have enough base in there, at least enough asphalt or chip seal layers that we would have been supported until we got it covered back up and, with that 2 to 3, we're actually putting up to 3 inches of asphalt in some of those areas to help levelize it. We would have never figured it would have failed after that.
But what are you doing? Are you coming in and laying rock on the edges of the road then after you get done? Because if you've got a lip that big on the edge, you get traffic rolling, it's just gonna keep chipping off.
Correct.
I mean,
We're
that's the whole
we're
deal.
coming back through and we're actually gonna fix all the roadsides through there. We had our blade come through and knock off about 6 inches of that, so we can get that good, and then it's gonna we're gonna bring that edge back up to it and make it a smooth transition.
I know some road ditches are higher than the road and putting the water right out on the road.
Correct. So once this is done, we're gonna come in and we're gonna eliminate all those, so you'll start seeing some roadside work. It should have been done before. We didn't plan on this project starting that soon, but I couldn't help when that company was gonna come in, and it was bid opening, and the next week they were here, so we really didn't have the time to get that ditch work done. We were trying to catch up to get ready for asphalt season, and then they showed up and we had to start, so.
But
Yeah.
do you feel good enough that road's got a good enough base that it's not gonna go to pieces?
Well,
That's what I'm asking you, because.
yes and no. There are some areas I do have
What I'm
concern
saying
about.
is, if it's not good enough, or if you don't think it's good enough to keep it from going to pieces, why are we spending all this money and instead of going and putting a base down and then doing it while we're there?
I'm comfortable for most of that road. There's some certain spots that we've always had issues with, and I think regardless, until we dig them up and do some type of drainage control on it, we'll always have those issues. But
So that's the question, why not fix them now?
Yeah.
well,
Like,
I mean, that's, the majority of them was what we're trying to get fixed as we're working down the road. So you'll see there's a guy out there digging in those soft spots, and if he sees water, we'll address it at a time. We've never dug into any water or any springs yet. And that's what we're waiting to find, is if we find a spring, we'll know we have water drainage issues. Other than that, it's probably just the heavy traffic and the roadsides that aren't letting that water off. So when you have the water runoff that sits on the side of the road, that's what's eating those side of the roads out. So if you get those ditches cleaned out and good, we should have no problems.
I think as long as you have heavy equipment going down through there, you're always gonna have an issue. They just can't take that.
And I mean, I know for a fact those trucks aren't legal weight, and that's just the way it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But I don't think even if, and I don't haul anything, but even if they were legal, that's a lot of weight on an old paved road.
Correct. And I mean, if we had the funds to go in there and build that entire stretch and rework that entire road and make it 26-foot wide, and put a complete base in it, we probably would have done it, but there's just not the funds for that project.
You didn't have any money
We're slim.
Yeah, again, it's a repair project, it's not a replacement or a refurbishment.
Is
Yeah,
it a
it's-
possibility to go up to a certain point and stop and then rock the rest of it and maybe possibly next spring?
I would not want to do that to that road.
Are you talking about rocking on top of what's there?
Yeah.
I don't think it would.
I can't understand, why you got it ground down. If the road does not have a base on it, why you're not putting a base on it when you're there?
Well, to put a base, you'd have to start over. You'd basically rip that up
to.
and start. You're starting from square one. You're talking probably triple the cost if you rip that what's there up.
Well, there's places where there's dirt, you can see it, so you're not
How much
talking.
asphalt, how much base of asphalt is actually left now? It can't be very much.
In the center of the road, there's a couple inches. There on the edges, you're looking 2 or 3, if that, some inch. I mean, you'll see where the inch ones are at, 'cause it's all breaking out. And I can't help. That's how the past was on that. I mean, we're doing our best to catch those spots and backfill them with base rock, but I'm not going to be able to get them all. I mean, we're going to try our best, and we're looking for them, but there's some that I'm going to miss. I mean, that's.
Well, I was just wondering because, I've always taught it, if you're gonna do a job, do it right, and do it halfway.
Well, if it can't be done right now, can it be set up where in the future, like, if you start building funds for that road?
We're looking into options. And we had talked last week about some ways of bringing in, a $2 million type of bond or
Yeah.
some type of bonding. to
Because
do
if
projects like this.
if you're gonna budget something, I mean, you look at where your problems are in your county, I presume, and you try to take care of those problems and so forth, so I know you got a budget far in advance to try to take care of those things, so.
When we started looking at that road, it didn't look too bad. I mean, the road edges were bad, and we figured we could solve those pretty quick. And once we milled it off and we found all the problems, it was a whole new story. And when we looked at it and I did the budget on it, I was like, okay, this can't be too bad, we'll mill it, come back in late. I never imagined having all those soft spots,
Yeah, but the road was really bad shape
Correct.
beforehand because there was somebody ran off the road or something because it was just a patch job was, all that loose stuff and so I think somebody went around the corner and went off into the ditch.
Well, the speed limit needs to be reduced because people can't drive 50 like they used to down through there.
I would like to address the heavy trucks. Are there an exorbitant amount of heavy trucks coming down that road to avoid being on a more major road where they might get picked up? Or is this just all local farmers?
Atchison County,
It's
Hartford's
local.
coming into town.
It's convenient to come up that road.
The only
Okay.
where you might see that is, I've seen it on, and not a lot, maybe one a year, is on 262nd. A regular trailer cut across there.
Okay.
For some reason.
Even though its signage says it's not for commercial traffic.
Yeah. But the DOT is always over there on the highway, so they can jump off there and come around. But I'm not saying they're doing that, but
Okay, it was just a question because, I'm not from that area and I don't get to see that. So, I mean,
farm trucks.
it's fun.
Yeah, it'd be traffic that originates on that road, so
Okay.
there's other access to get
That's-
to.
Well, I didn't know if there was some feeder place that they were trying to cut through and avoid anything.
If they don't go through there, then they have to go up through Nortonville and come around,
Mhm.
or they gotta go down to Lowmont and
Come around. Okay.
or maybe Potter.
Okay. Yeah, I drove that
That's our major-
Saturday night. I drove the road. So
You got that, some of you call it Oliver curve, and I call it the
Yeah.
curve north of Oliver's. That's a big problem too that we're not
Well,
really addressing.
With the semi, you're on the other side of the road trying to come around to keep your trailer out of the ditch. And even there, the curve right east of there, them curves, there's just, it's with a 40-foot trailer, ain't that right? You just can't come around there. You meet a semi, one's in the ditch.
There's gonna be a wreck sooner or later there.
Yeah, that probably, the whole thing probably needs to be pushed and dug back. I mean, that's a major, you got culvert, you got drainage issues, that corner, pushing it back.
Yeah.
We can look at, I don't know what we can do right now with it. I mean, I'd probably have to get an engineer involved to figure out. all
We know
that.
you have limited funds, whether, I think the concern is that if we only do 2-inch overlay with no base, and ditches aren't dug out, and stuff's not graded, and, even some spots where it's been, the roller hasn't pushed down, that seems pretty highly visible. I think there's just concern, if it's not done right, we're gonna be back in the same situation in less than 2 years.
At what point do you have to have a civil engineer look at a road?
I mean, I would have one if we were to mill that completely and do a full review. I would have a civil engineer involved.
You'd have to have plans drawn.
Correct. So we would contract it out, and in order to do that, we would have to have an engineer draw some plans.
What did they do with the millings that came off the road? I mean, is it?
We're keeping some, we're selling them back to the asphalt plant. We ran into some lines there for a while where we were, people were calling, we were just giving them away just so we had enough room in our stockpile. But right now, we're selling them all to the
So
asphalt
it's not possible to help use that as a partial base and to lay it back down and pack it in before you overlay it. I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking.
No, if we're gonna do it, like I said, we'd have to mill it, the full thickness of that road, break everything back up, and then go back again. You can't go on top of that hard surface right now.
that's where I think you'd suggested rock. Well, I think on top of what's there, then just rock on top of that, you would almost be a skating rink. It'd be rock on top of asphalt.
It'd blow off.
Yeah.
What another solution is, so if you can't put the base down or grind it all the way down, if you cut out at least those bad spots and dig it out, what about a higher asphalt? Because if you're doing 2 to 3, what is 4 inches of overlay do to strengthen the base?
It would, it'd help, it'd double our cost.
It would double just.
Well,
going
if
forward?
you've done 4 inch all the way across the road.
Well, it sounded like there's variance of 2 to 3 inch overlay. You're talking about doing 3 on some spots now.
Well, it just depends. If there was a low spot that they didn't, you can tell where the mill went across and it didn't actually get down. That's where the spots that are coming into 3 or 4, that range. The majority of it is 2 inch to go down and measure it.
Okay.
It's just those spots that were a little below normal are getting those thicker patches.
Maybe it just seems like the roller's a little bit light too. I don't know how it's performed, but it just seems like it's there's a heck of a seam going down the middle of some of it. So
yeah, and that's the problem when we get the machine. It depends on the operator on that side. We have a new operator on it, so there's some training that needs to be done to show them how to level that back down to that cold joint and get that rolling. So that's probably the majority of that problem. It's not the roller, it's the operator of the machine that didn't get that joint down.
There is some places like that now. You go along and you go like that.
And some of the, we can't get them all. We're trying, but there is some of those spots that you have those holes that, we're gonna miss. It takes a lot of effort for one guy to walk that entire road just to find those spots, and I've walked it every day. I'm down there, I'm walking it and finding certain spots, and you'll see more and more paint come down, and that's just me walking that road. So, we're doing our best we can out there. That's all I can tell you. We're doing the best we can.
Hindsight's 20/20, but we'd have probably been better off to say, okay, we're gonna spend this much. So instead of trying to do the whole road somewhat, designate the worst area and fixed it right. Did the ditches, widened the road, and then next year did another process. But we're into it now, so that's not an option, but that would have probably been a better option. We got X amount of dollars to spend on the road, but let's ditch it, widen it, whatever. May have been a third, it may have been a fourth of the road, or
You know, it's always possible, but by the time that end of the road's done, you get to the other end.
it'll be ready to redone
You
again.
almost need to do some type of researching on it. I mean, I figured one large project, get completed, that'd be our one project for the year. I know we're wanting to get to the point of building new roads, but like I said, we have to get these roads that we currently have up to par, so. It wasn't my goal to have all the failures in this.
Again, but
But that's kind of what fell in my lap, and I'm trying to deal with it the best I can.
if, is this the first time that the county has done any milling of the old roads?
As far as I'm concerned, it's first
Because,
time
I mean, I've only been on for a little over 2 years now, and this is the first that I know that we've done. So this is kind of a new experience for the county at all. And I think what it does is it basically pick the scab off. So now we're seeing what we've got underneath there, that there's more problems than anticipated. So this don't help you, but I mean, it is kind of, it will be a learning experience, and then how we maybe look forward, because I know we had a road next year that we was talking about milling.
Probably not gonna happen.
Well, yeah, we're gonna have to weigh the cost and against the benefits. You know.
I guess my deal, I live on the road,
Mhm.
and, you know, we've been fighting this road for years and years. And you get your high spots, your low spots, and that, and here we've seen that finally we're gonna get us a road, and then all of a sudden it's starting to go to pieces. And it's gonna be the high spots and low spots again, you know, when it first started. So that was my concern.
Okay, yeah, it's a legitimate concern.
I mean, my goal was initiated at, you know, let's fix this road right. And that's what I thought was gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know, we've always just done the patchwork and the chip seal, and that's where you get them. I'm trying to eliminate that. I want to make, you know, the smoothest road you can.
Yeah,
So that was my goal on this whole thing.
I understand. You
Yeah.
run into binds and stuff.
So the reason why the grindings was to level the road up and smooth the road up
Correct.
is why?
Get the slope back in it and get, you know, all the uneven, you know, as we patch, you know, they do a 30-foot area, well, that raises the road an inch. Well, they do that throughout the years, they're all over the place, so this was to eliminate all those, go in.
Could you, like, in the future, like with big projects like that, ever consider, you know, you guys only pave so many months out of the year, but, you know, the same company that does the milling come in and like do the asphalt overlay, maybe that.
And I priced it, and it was way over the budget amount. I knew
Sure.
it wasn't gonna be feasible for us to do it, because that was my option, is, hey, if they come in the middle and they can lay it cheaper than what we can do, let's do it.
Wasn't you considering on the next project maybe how they did 59, have them come in and grind it, because they did a tremendous job, I thought, on 59 Iowa.
Correct.
Next year's project was 286, you know, to Lancaster.
All the way up,
Yeah. Oh, you're going clear to Effingham on that.
correct.
Are you gonna put a new culvert in that one place out there?
Where the cones are at? Is that what you're
That's
talking
a
about?
hole in the road.
Yeah, we're actually gonna patch that culvert up, so it'll be all concrete. It's just that one hole in there. I mean, there's no way we can get a tube in it right now, so it's just gonna be a patchwork that should last. When I looked at the tube, it should be fine if we patch that hole. So. You're talking about on the road, right? Where the hole in the road's at. So
Where the cones, the two
I
orange
just
cones?
presumed that the tube had a hole in it as well.
It's at a concrete box. Right?
Oh, that's right.
And what?
It's starting to grow.
Yeah. And we're gonna dig out everything down there until we find where it ends, and we're going in there and taking it off. Well, if that's the case, then I guess we're gonna replace it. But when I looked at it, it didn't seem to go that extreme. It just needed some patchwork done.
How big a culvert is that?
5, 6 feet, ain't it 4 feet, 5 feet square?
6, 7 foot, somewhere in there. I don't.
It's-
Is it over there?
I don't think it was that big.
I
So I don't
I didn't
remember.
stop to look at it, but I should
I
have.
feel like it was a 6 or 7 footer.
Well, if it's, that's something too, that if you get in there and it's bigger, we can't just be only patching if,
Correct.
and that's, like, again, I think where we pulled the scab back, we're seeing more things to fix, that if we would have just went in with a 2-inch overlay, it would have been throwing a blanket over, then we would add failures. So hopefully we will be catching some of the stuff that wouldn't have been caught previously, because there's some stuff that's definitely no-brainers that was going to have to be addressed before we put anything down, and we're going to try to get it fixed as well as we possibly can.
Well, like them patches there, like on top of Alders Corner, on top of the hill there, you have a soft spot, probably about the size of that desk there.
Mm-hmm.
And you dug out and put a rock in there, are we gonna do, lay over the top of that again?
No, they'll actually scrape
Scrape down?
majority of that down and then go back over it. Usually they run a patch over that and then they come back and then they overlay it. So it should have
That was gonna be another,
some of the ones that aren't, that one's pretty good, or a pretty severe one. The smaller ones, we may not actually do the patch because we'll have them 3 inches over them, but more of the severe ones, yes, we'll actually lay a 2-inch layer and then come back and do another 2-inch over.
So if you do any tube replacements, are you planning on extending those tubes to make them wider, so down the road, if you're able to widen the road, you don't have to go back in
Correct.
and add to those tubes?
If there's anything on our roads that we replace that's, majority of them are 30 foot long. We're trying to make them 40 to 50, if not 60, whatever our right of way is, we try to extend it right away to right away. So,
Because the tubes that you're talking about,
correct.
every low spot is narrow. I mean,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
you have to come in because there is no shoulder there. So
Correct.
Right.
So they're doing that, they're gonna do that ahead of the paving, or they're doing that
Yes,
this year?
we're trying to get ahead of them. They're still currently working back. I'm hoping by the end of the week we're done from 230th south with all the patchwork, and then they can start working to the north ahead of us. So.
Is there any way, there on Oliver's Corner there, that little drop off, is there any way to put a rail up there or anything? Because I know there's been a couple people going off that.
Yeah, when we can. We got quite a few areas like that that we need guardrails. It's something I can look into and see if we can get something done.
Especially when in the wintertime when it gets real icy.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to go down through there sometimes is a challenge.
I had spoke to Seth after I drove it. It was Monday, I guess it was, about the power substation there where Arnold's Auction Barn used to be. That I was talking to the guy that lives across the road from there, and he said there's water, he thinks, running out of the, is it KP&L or Westar's lot, and now that they've filled up that grader ditch, it's just coming down that embankment, and he's afraid that in the wintertime that's going to be freezing on the road. And I was really surprised to see that basically the whole, it was either south or the east or southeast grader ditch has been filled up from their driveway clear to their north property
They
line.
did install a tube all the way through that ditch.
But there's a tube under it.
Correct.
But that's not, there's going to be a lot of water that formerly when there was a greater ditch there, it would have cut anything coming out of their property, which now is going to be coming directly onto that, onto our road.
Which I think their goal with that substation was to drain everything back to the east. I was going to stop and talk with Wolf Construction, which is doing most of that work, and see if there is any other plans or what their goal was, or if that we're going to run into that issue. If we do run into that issue, I will get a hold of Westar and see if they can do a plan change, or we will have to remove that culvert.
Okay.
and down the road there's gonna be one other issue. Right there where I live, Crooked Creek comes around there. I think if you look, right there by the railing, she's straight down about 200 and some foot.
Correct. That is a very scary hill there. So. I have seen a car go over that embankment. I mean, in that big grass lot in the hayfield there, there has been a car go over that bank.
Did you got one?
Years before we put that in, put that railing in, there was a car teeter-totter there just about went over.
Approximately where is that? Since I don't I'm not familiar with that area so
Where
much.
Stranger Creek Bridge is down there.
Okay,
You go south up around the curve.
Not very far.
There's a big bottom on your west side,
okay,
right there.
okay. Because
That railing right there.
I haven't driven it enough to be familiar with any of you gentlemen or know the references that you're citing. So as I go down there and drive it again, I'd like to be able
It's that
to.
big drop off.
Okay, I know where you're at now, but you know it's just hard to reference these things.
That's probably what, mile and a half south of that bridge?
Yes,
Something like that, 2 miles, something like that.
When you cross the bridge, the blacktop turns and goes west. And then when it starts curving back to go south, that's the railing they're talking about, and that's where it drops off, just around that curve of the highway.
There's a
Blacktop
dam
starts
right
heading south.
Okay. Is there anything more you'd like to relay to us?
Thank you for your information.
Well, thank you for coming, because, I mean, not everything can be anticipated, as you well know.
I'm just hoping somewhere in the future that somehow we can do a budget or something to get it done really good, you know, the way it should be done.
I'm assuming they've done traffic counts on that. Have they? I guess lately or recently, or I've missed part of your meeting. I'm sorry. So you've already
I don't know when the last traffic count. I know K.S.A. does a couple for us, and I should have the information on somewhere. I don't have it all, with me right now.
Was there
I
a
don't remember if I
possibility?
might have done
You
one
could-
last
You
year.
can probably do traffic
I
counts.
can do traffic counts.
Yeah,
I don't
we have,
remember.
okay.
For some reason, I feel like I've done one on that road when I first got them. I can go back and check my paperwork on it.
That's probably pretty high, would be my guess.
Well,
Yeah,
I guarantee it's high.
I know the harvest time would be,
Correct.
okay. Well, we'll keep on it. Now you've piqued our interest, and
well, I mean, my main concern is the semis. I don't wanna see somebody get killed. Right now, the loaded semis, they take their portion of the road, the empty semis take the grass. That's the way we've been doing that.
yeah.
And, that's the way we've been doing the last few years.
Would it help if we rocked the shoulder a little bit more, or
On a shoulder rock.
there's nothing there?
That's
That's
the
not fixing it, but I thought, well, that might help. But. All right.
well. Thank you very much. If you don't have anything further, keep in touch.
You need me for anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Maybe, well, no, not, we'll talk about that next week, about what we're paying insurance on some of the buildings. I think it's ridiculous. Thank you, Seth.
Okay, Seth. Thanks. Come on up, Joe.
Do we want the treasure back in, or better not, probably?
Probably not. I don't know if
Have you got the
we
bills,
didn't
or
keep
got-
those statements, did we? That Connie had brought in this morning. So she still has
Do
them.
you want me to go grab them?
Huh?
Do you want me to go get them from?
Yeah, I think so.
I'll go get them.
Well, go ahead and
Okay.
we'll just wait till you get back so she can take minutes. I'm gonna have to get. I don't know if this gentleman. I should have introduced myself and had them all.
I was off by 10 minutes, wasn't I?
That's not bad.
Johnny Gehring was behind me.
Okay.
Who was the guy next to John?
Well, I didn't see exactly who was sitting next to him, but Brad Greenwood was back there somewhere. He's the one that lives on Phillips Road. I think he lives in Stills' old place.
Bernie Knoll. Well, it's probably
Yeah, Bernard Knowles.
Bernard Knoll, yeah, I
Which one
recognized
was-
it. Bernard Knoll was sitting in the middle chair in the second row.
He had a light colored t-shirt, I can see now it's under my eye. And then,
Adam Novinsky is way in the back.
Let's see.
yeah, I thought.
Ari Garian,
and
Jeffrey
Scott.
That was
Shealy.
John's brother, which lives down by Winchester.
Bernie Knoll, Brad Greenwood, John Garian, Scott Novinsky.
And he's, I think his background's in accounting, so I mean,
Yes.
well versed in methods and stuff.
I wished I'd have known that, because I get a lot of stuff from that Brad Greenwell, or Greenwell, whatever.
You mean information or
Complaints-
questions?
Complaints or questions. I bet I've got 8 or 10 from him since I've been commissioner. Now, where was he sitting?
He was, I could see him out of the corner of my eye.
Christine?
He was by
Kristen
Bernard.
from the health department.
No.
I went into my office and was told that the air conditioning unit's not working. It's 90 degrees in there, and they've authorized somebody to come in to fix it Friday.
Where's this at?
The health department.
So I don't
So-
know. I'm just relaying that message.
Okay,
So
they would usually call me, so I don't know why you didn't. So,
I don't know.
I mean, I'm technically on vacation this week, and they probably know that, so it's probably not bothering me. That's probably why it is.
She called. She
I'm
called.
sorry, I
You
didn't.
better get to that.
That's fine.
Okay. Well,
It's a working vacation.
okay. We were Connie,
Treasure.
our treasurer, was in this morning and was questioning the bills for the servicing the AC unit, and there was 2 different times that there was the charges for the Freon, which amounted $700, and she was wondering why. I guess that her budget was going to have to stand it. She thought that would be under the maintenance.
The maintenance budget, there was 30,000 put in it for, but then there's a lot of things, and I'm not sure what's being taken out of it. I know that they're paying the utilities here out of it and stuff, so I don't know. I've never been really explained what that was for. Always in the past, all departments, and so her budget should already have that in it, have taken care of the air conditioning and everything in their office.
Well, I think part of her questioning too was that it was charged up just 2 weeks back. You know, it was charged up 2 weeks later. It was charged up again, but she wasn't told what the people were doing there, or she wasn't. So basically, it was somebody else made the decisions. Didn't ask her whether they should do it again, and if there's a leak, why wasn't it caught? And then she just basically sent the bill. So.
Okay, well, I was unaware of 2 services. I know there was one. I'd have to check the dates.
And she said if it was leaking out that fast, she didn't think that the second one should have ever been performed.
Okay, well, on the second one, I was out at the ambulance barn in Effingham. They had, the hot water heater was not venting.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then when I got into it a lot more than I expected. I replaced the whole flue, is what I did. So through most of this, I was on the phone to people, and I had talked to Connie as well as everybody else. And as far as I remember, I think she's the one that actually called her. So, I don't know. I mean, that day I pulled over in front of Thayer's actually to talk, or by the old Globe, where the Globe used to be, and talk to everybody there.
Would that have been on the first?
I think that was last
Call?
like Wednesday, I think, something like that. I think.
So that would have been the
It was
day.
last week sometime, like. And then Friday they came back and they filled it up again, but they used recycled Freon, so there was no charge for it. And then they did it again Monday, and there was no charge for it. Just to get them by until yesterday, and yesterday they came in on the 4th of July and replaced the whole unit, so they've got a whole new unit now. And I came in yesterday to make sure that it got done.
Okay.
So, and while I was here, I even had to go to Senior Village because they also had air conditioning problems. So.
Okay.
But as far as the bills, I mean, I don't know what to say about who pays it. I mean, it's not my budget, but other than that $30,000 fund. But always in the past, each department is, this air conditioning goes out here, the commissioners have always paid for what's in their office.
Okay.
If that one in there goes out, that would be IT, they would take care of it. If treasurers, wasn't very long ago, it went out. And everybody questions it every time, but it's always been that way. So
unless you wanna put a lot more in my budget, and I guess then you probably wanna take some out of everybody else's budgets to cover those things.
Would that be a simpler way of doing that if we pulled that out of other and put that all under one authority?
The only thing that I can see wrong with it is then people want,
Everything?
if they're not paying for it, they seem to want more. So it may cost you more in the long run. I mean, I'm fine with it coming out of a budget that I have, but then again, that would leave me a little control over what they did. In other words, if they want a new air conditioner, even though it's still working more or less,
Right.
but it's noisy or whatever, I mean, what do I do? That's,
Okay.
I mean, right now, my budget never had anything in it for fixing air conditioners. It's plumbing and stuff in the common areas, the restrooms and stuff like that, hot water heaters, things like that. That comes out of my budget. But when you get into the offices, they've always taken care of them. So, and we do replace light bulbs and ballasts and stuff like that, and we pay for that.
Okay. Well, some of this is, I wasn't for sure exactly how it's set up, for, and I think she even indicated that even at the noxious weed department, she'd have to pull for things out of her department out there, so.
Right.
Oh, this one was
That one
yours?
was actually in mine.
Okay.
Now, see, if I did anything out there, she paid for 100% of it, even the restrooms, lights, or anything, if I did it out at the noxious weeds. So, but here, there are some things in maintenance.
Okay.
Because you do have a lot of common areas and stuff, plus light bulbs, I mean, it'd be pretty slow to.
Well, sounds to me like that's explained then. Do you have any questions for him?
As far as these two bills, I was unaware of two. I was only aware of one, so.
Are there different, what are the dates on those?
One's 6/13, one's 6/27. So, I don't see where it says date of service.
Well, did they come out and put some in it just so it run for a few days till they could get it fixed?
That's what they did Friday and Monday, of this last week and this week. Because no one's gonna be there yesterday on the 4th, so they wanted to come in because they have to get a load student to fix it. And I didn't become aware of it till like 1 o'clock. So I got ahold of Dan Sowers, and he's the one that installed it. He's the one that's been airing it up ever since, or fixing whatever, things like that. So, but I was unaware of the two bills. So, and
Do you think that's a duplication, or would they're
different amounts, so I assume that it's different.
Okay.
Because one has a servicing, and he didn't charge the servicing for the second time.
Well, maybe they're separate units too.
She only has one unit, I think.
Does the clerk have a unit that's separate?
Clerk, but it says treasurer's office, so I'm sure it's.
I
I
have
thought one of them was, oh, I see.
I have one bill for myself. Connie's, the treasurer's office machine unit was messing up, acting up, so the Sowers came in. And then the next thing I know, they're in my office doing something with my unit because it was 84 degrees in my office. And then the next thing you know, they're back over in Connie's doing stuff with her unit. But it was like, I don't know.
I think
They've never put any Freon in yours that I'm aware of.
Mm-mm. No, they did something else with mine. Okay.
Hers was
Everything else I try to fix, but Freon, if I put a gauge on it, I could get a heavy fine and so, no.
Okay. Clerk's was servicing AC unit and replaced float switch. Total of $220.
What was it?
$220.
What did they do?
Placed a float switch.
Float switch. My foot got caught in that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm aware of this one. I forgot about this. We had thought it was Freon, but it didn't turn out to be that way.
Now
It was,
this
above the ceiling, there's a float in case it would fill up with water, and the pump wouldn't let it drain out. It shuts the unit down, and that's what it was. So, but I was aware of this. This has been a while back.
They're about the same time as those spray on ones.
Right. But it's been a little bit ago, so.
Okay.
I think the treasurer's comment, as I recall, she thought she should have been notified. And then when she did talk to whoever, she said, well, why wasn't this pressurized? And
Pressure checked.
pressure checked, and then whoever the tech was said, well, this has been leaking for a long time. Is that not what she kind of said?
Mhm.
And I think the combination of the three things is what got her upset. And then she said that you had stuff in your budget and she didn't, and
Well,
we didn't know.
I don't, the second one, they probably should have pressurized it. I can't say they could or shouldn't have. But when you do that, you have to pump the unit down first. Then you put the pressure, your other gas in it, and then after you're done with that, you have to pump it back down again, and then you have to fill it back up. So you're talking about, a pretty good service call for them to do that. And I'd have to talk to Dan to know all the specifics on this, because somewhere in there he found out he was going to put in a new unit. So he may have just been trying to get by doing that until then. Because, I don't know what. The other thing is, I think that the maintenance should probably buy one of those little portable units like in here to put in, they have the hose put in the windows for such things as this. I went everywhere around town and they don't sell one. So I'm going to have to order one online or something.
How much are they?
They're like $400 or $500, so about what one of these were. But
That's just like if it went down, you put it in there, then you get it fixed, then you take it back out.
Right, and it's just a temporary, and it's not going to keep you cool, but it's not, it'll help. Like in here, if this one went down, somebody's going to have to run somewhere to get one because they don't sell them here in town. So.
Are we gonna have to get one of those for your old office over here? She get that because that doesn't have AC in that. But where would we go? There is no window to stick the hose out of. So is that?
Well, originally, and it's gotten cheaper from what I understand, but for $49,000, you can have air in here, so you don't have to worry about this being hot in here, and you can do both of those offices and the two offices down here. So you could
Register of Deeds and HR.
Yeah, and what the deal is today, they have units that one unit can power a bunch of heads. So you can put one unit out back here, and then you run one set of lines, and you can run 5 or 6 units easy off of it. But last time I priced it was $49,000. Of course, didn't want to do that. So.
And that was for how many? For all of these? All of these?
Would have been those two offices, I believe. I could go back and check, but I know it was this one and those over there. The big thing here is if you want to put a split unit, you could put it out front here, but do you want them all around your building? You know what I'm talking about? The little split. You see them around a lot of offices anymore. Do you want them? That's a lot. It would be cheaper to run it straight in from this way. The way I had it figured was we put pads out back with the other air conditioners, or maybe even over by the generator for the sheriff's office, and then you would run one set of line sets throughout this entire building, or this floor, and air condition all these offices.
I guess my question got sidestepped a little bit. I was wondering, is there any way of putting like the single temporary unit in that one office?
Well, you can do that, or you could put a single split unit you could use. The other one, the freestanding,
Well,
it would be possible, I guess.
Something economical is what I was shooting for.
Well, you could just run a 5-inch line right through the hallway, right there out the window.
We could hire somebody to have a fanner.
I can attest, it gets very warm in there. You can run 3 fans and it's just like 90 degrees. It's
So
very uncomfortable.
congested.
It's to the point where there's a couple times last year I would have to get up middle of the afternoon just to go to another office because it would
So, well, just to answer your question, number one, you could do the freestanding unit like that, but then you're going to have a 5-inch pipe run through that hallway where the driver's license is, and then you're going to have to take out that glass window and put that out that window. So I don't know how you want to do that. The second cheaper option would be to put a split unit, which a split unit is you put a wall, or you can mount it in the ceiling or whatever you line it, but you have to drill a 3-inch hole through this building, and then you'd set something out here in the yard. You'd have that out in the yard, or the most expensive but the best would be to run it back here, and then you would drill one set of line sets clear through this floor and do all the offices except for the clerks and the treasurers.
What if you put a door out towards the front of that office and pulled air out of the DMV office? Would that circulate over there?
Oh, you mean take that wall out we just put in?
No, just move the door out to the front.
Well, but there's no, that's wall there now.
Well, you still got that walkway from the hall to the DVM, and then you go around and go in her office. If you just put a door out here at the edge of her office and pull the air from the DVM, that's not workable, feasible?
There's no,
Well,
there's
first,
nothing
you
there.
probably have to up the size because that's a real small 110. So
Yeah, you'd
it's
have to
fairly
upsize
good.
it.
So you'd have to buy a new air conditioner. If you're going to do that, you might as well buy the
Freestanding.
freestanding, and it wouldn't look any, I mean, it would be what it is. And I don't know of any other options that you could have. I could talk to some HVAC guys and see what's the very cheapest way to put air in there.
Okay. Well, just while you were here, I thought I'd pick your brain a little bit.
Picnic table.
Hmm?
Picnic table.
Oh,
We had a request from the suggestion box approximately 2 months ago. It's been quite a while, that they would like to have a picnic table.
out front, we didn't, I
Well, they
talked,
didn't specify where, they just like to have a picnic table. Or did they say out front?
well, it would have to be out here somewhere, but that would be problematic, I could
My
see.
first thought would be if we have a picnic table out front, it would probably be used to sit down and smoke more than it was to eat, and I don't know what the perception of the people going by would think of that.
Yeah, and the other thing, it says here in the grass area, I think you'd almost have to put concrete down because you'd have mud before long.
You'd have bare ground and it'd
Bare
look bad.
ground and,
And it'd be mud, I mean, whatever,
Yeah,
and then you'd
get
have that
deeped
tracked
out.
throughout the building and it would be a mess.
it wouldn't be ADA compliant.
Well, you can get them with ADA compliant, I mean, that wouldn't be because you could put it right next to the sidewalk and they have them where they.
But you would probably, you'd have to have it on concrete.
Right,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. On the grass wouldn't be
Yeah.
ADA compliant.
right, it probably would not, so. Anyways, whatever you want, they also give those away, I don't know if they still do, they're made out of the rubber. I know they've gotten a couple of them for the county lake, I don't know who did it, I thought
Yeah,
the
I
clerk's
remember
office did
there.
it.
They're recycled, they make them out of recycled,
Rubber tires,
well, I was thinking it was milk bottles.
Speaking of these
Okay.
they're heavy and they're, I see.
Hey, we're getting hot, we want a new one.
Well, I can do
So
it.
what we do, just put out a general response that we consider the picnic table, and at this point, we still looking at it, or they probably forgot that they'd sent it in by now.
You want that back?
Yeah, we probably should have it back.
All right.
Okay, so on those, do you want me to pay those out of my budget? I mean, I don't really have it, other than the 30,000, and their budget should have had something in it for it, so.
Well, I think we need to discuss it further because, I mean,
Well,
whatever it is, it's going to be a new precedent if we change. And we need to think it through, not just for these, but
my opinion is it should come out of maintenance, but we also need to figure out what each department put in their budget for maintenance and then pull it out of there, and then you'd be in charge of it. It makes sense to me, but I don't know if nobody's gonna wanna give up some of their budget, or if we ask them, like, what's in your maintenance budget, do you know? You have a maintenance budget, do you know?
well, I'm sure there's probably something in.
In my actual,
That's gonna be the question.
Yeah, I mean, every department has an expensive maintenance
But,
of some sort.
and I would also say, if we're not gonna do something like that, I would say have it come out of the treasurer's budget. Because if you pay for it now, it's gonna keep snowballing, so we're gonna have some kind of plan in place right now before we decide on that bill.
Well, just for an example, the county appraiser budget for 2018 for maintenance and repairs is $500. Well, they're already over that for 2017 actual. They've got 612.
That's probably on that bathroom, or did that come out of county general?
That was last year.
Oh, that was last year, that's right.
I mean, that isn't very high for an office.
Well, you're the maintenance guy, what's your opinion?
Well, like I said, if you have it taken out of there, then people want better things. And always in the past, I don't know, I mean, we've had,
But then on the other hand, Joe, I can see the treasurer's thing. It's coming out of her budget. She wasn't notified, she's gotta pay the bill. You know, that's not right either.
right.
But you're on top of it getting it fixed. So, you're a department head, what's your feel?
I don't know. I think central units are a lot more costly. I think maintenance on them should be more minimal. But I think if you go with the central unit, I think it should be maintenance. The smaller units should be per office. I don't know.
So she's riding the fence, basically.
I'm riding the fence. I mean, the smaller units are something that's not as,
But to that point,
Right.
you're gonna spend $3,700 in the treasurer's office for central air. And that's coming out of county general. As far as I know, I mean, I don't have a budget, so.
Right. That's
Well,
true,
sooner
too.
or later, it's gonna happen where the whole system, our heating's gonna fail, and then you're talking major bucks. So,
I don't know, Joe, if I was told that when my system failed, that I would have to, or when something happened, I'd have to replace it because the Freon's different now.
Right.
Right,
Well, that's
is
the
that-
that's the big thing here is that's Freon 22, and the new is, they don't make it anymore, so it's going out of sight as far as price. So,
Right.
whenever you have any problems, you can see you might as well buy a new unit before you have it serviced.
They can't convert them units over
You have
to.
to cut the compressors clear out of them and drain them because the oil is not compatible with the new Freon.
Okay.
So by the time you do all that, plus it wouldn't have fixed this one anyway because it was actually leaking in the unit, the air handler. You can see where at the end of the fans there where it was leaking because the oil came out of there. So you still had that problem, and if you fixed it, it's more likely you're going to fix the unit at the end of the unit. You know, once they break down, you're going to have that problem. So it's by far cheaper to spend 36 and some change now than to try to piece that together because you had to do all that, pay for the new oil, the time, and then you'd have
Still
to put
an
a
old
new air
unit.
handler inside anyway. Even though you kept the outside compressor, by the time it was done, you'd have more this price.
to be taken out of county general and come up with some kind of plan for right now. Do we stick to our guns and have it come out of the treasury?
I think so. Like it's until we would have a major revision of policy or something. Because if we do it for one, it's going to set a new precedent, and we want to make sure that we know where we're going before we head there.
Right, and when I get a call, I mean, my priority is, especially on air conditioning, the heat or water, is to get back home. And I try to do it as cheaply as I can and get it fixed right. So that's where my priorities are. So if I did overlook her, which I swear that I think I was talking to everybody on the phone because I was on the way out to Effingham. We actually had to work over that night to get everything done. So, but if I didn't, that's still the way I would have done it. Get it fixed. That's what my priority would be.
We better let it go because he has to go to senior village. Where does he need to go?
Health department.
Health-
Health department.
I
Okay.
think just maybe just give him a call, I don't know.
I'll just run down by there real quick. I need to check on the basement
They
anyway.
she wanted me to be aware so I could let the commissioners know. I don't know. What-
Also on that one there, I bought the dehumidifier because I thought it'd be something nice to have for the courthouse later. And I was going to use the one that we have two here at the courthouse. I was going to take one down to leave it there. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Now, is there stuff being put back down that basement again, or do you know, or?
Plans of it, but no one has yet. But there's plans.
I would say it's fine if they utilize the space, but they need to have it up off the ground. They buy some cement cinder blocks and put some boards down, something there, because, you know, no thicker than what the water got in there, and that thing's soaked up was poor.
Yeah, it was a
management.
mess. It was an absolute mess. But it's not the best place in the world to store a bunch of paper.
Oh, I realize that, but
Storing it in a basement. So
Yeah.
it's not.
I wouldn't encourage them to do that, but if it's gonna get down there, it at least needs to be a minimum space, I'd say.
Yeah, I would love to see it go out to the recycling center, just have one wall with shelves on it. It would take up almost 0 square foot as far as the vehicles and all that. I mean, you wouldn't even know it was there. And then it would be, if you cover it there, it'd be in the dry, it wouldn't mold and all that. And it wouldn't be that expensive. Pat was even telling me that, is it state or federal?
Oh, they're both at the same place.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe they would get them for little or nothing at the surplus. If you was interested.
Do what?
The surplus in Topeka,
Yeah.
they sometimes you have shelves, I'm sure.
Oh, shelving, okay, I missed that.
And, since it's surplus, we might be able to pick it up and use it. And then you have it where somebody's not lugging these up and down the steps, not in a moldy basement with all the records, and all that. I mean, it's just unless you're planning on getting rid of the recycling center. Plus, you're only taking up this much of the wall, which nobody's ever going to miss that. That big building.
Okay. We'll have to
They
consider
wouldn't
that.
miss it much anyway.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, we're gonna take it out of the treasurer's.
Yeah.
Joe, we're going to pay it out of the treasurer, the chairman said.
Okay.
I mean, we're not gonna act on it, which it would go back, if we leave it alone, it would go back without any vote, correct? That would be the precedent, and that's how it would stay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Look at any more of these, this stuff. Okay. I guess I had 2 bills that I was wanting to look at, and I've pulled them from the stack. Do I have to, how do we do that? I mean,
If you're wanting to hold payment, I would take them
to Melissa.
Melissa.
Okay. I mean, it just seems high. I don't know. What do you think, Bill? Those are, I think that they're promotional items.
This one here doesn't sound as bad to me. Cooling towels. I don't know if this is for the first responders or if it's for the ambulance.
I
But it's
don't.
supplies.
I
The
really don't.
Insect repellent.
I think I'll just pull them and email Wes. And
I saw it, yeah.
Okay.
Because that wouldn't be his responsibility to hire or to buy anything other than the ambulance building or,
This is Wes. This
I
would
know
be-
it's to be IT. It wouldn't be like the grounds out here. I don't know. Call him up and ask him what it's for.
Yeah, I'll pull them and get back with us, the full board next week on that. Okay, public comment, executive session needed by anybody?
We had talked about do you want to do that this week or you want to do it later?
Let's do it this week because we're done. I'd ask for executive session. You want
Consultation with an attorney. Yeah, I don't have my laptop.
Personnel or
on.
attorney-client?
Attorney-client.
I move the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session at 2:26 p.m. for consultation with the attorney for the public body which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship as allowed in K.S.A. 75-4319B2, and that the purpose of the closed session is to protect confidentiality of the discussion, and the board come out of executive session at
Hold on. 15?
15 minutes, sure.
2:45 p.m. in the commission room, first floor, county courthouse. Those present will be county commissioners and Pat Henderson, county council.
I'll second that motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Passed 2-0. Okay.
Came back. It must be good news.
Okay, I'm back on.
Okay.
What do you got for us?
Well, it's just more or less a heads up. I guess
Is it raining outside? Are you sweating?
It was pouring.
Really? I didn't hear it, but I see you're all wet.
Well,
Like
didn't you hear the thunder?
I
I heard thunder, but I didn't hear no rain.
I walked out and I looked out the window and I thought, wow.
I can
It's
see it on your
sunny
shirt.
when
Okay,
I-
go ahead. Got the camera back on?
Yes.
Okay.
Their unit needs replaced. And I guess they didn't say anything about it, so I assume we're paying for it or whatever. But I just want to give you a heads up because of that entrance. I don't know, it should be put up on the wall to make sure about the entrance if you're going to replace it. But if we don't, we can do it later if you decide to do the entrance.
Is moving it up on the wall where it should be, whether we or not we do the entrance? And what's the additional cost going to be?
I don't know any of that. I was just giving you a heads up of what was carrying on in case you wanted to. I mean, we can do it later. I don't know they didn't say anything about it. They've already looked at it. They don't know
Well, if the air conditioner's out there, ain't doing it later. It's going to have to be done.
Right, but as far as putting it up on the wall, I mean.
Well, first question we need to ask is, are they willing? What are they willing to pay for? Is that our responsibility? It probably is. That's probably over day-to-day maintenance.
Well, now
isn't it?
on the hot water heater, she had us send them the bill, and Wick picked up a portion of that. And I think we had split it, didn't we, 50-50?
We bought something and they bought something, as I
Yeah.
recall.
We paid for the
To clean up.
sump pump, clean up and all that, and then she paid for the $800 for the water heater.
Yeah. But did this just happen today? Or, because I haven't gotten an email. Normally she emails me with,
Michelle, you just got this email.
I just got the phone call while we were in the meeting at 1 o'clock.
Oh,
okay.
I don't know for sure exactly what time she called, but when I went over there, they told me that Kristen had called.
Okay, I'll try to get a hold of Kristen this week.
Okay. Well, I just thought I'd let you know, just
Sure.
give you a heads up what I knew, because I know that entrance, and the cost of it and everything, so just so you know,
Did they give a figure on what that?
6,100 or something, plus some other expenses they've already incurred for diagnosing it. But to replace it, I think was 61 and some change.
Okay, I'll get a hold of Kristen this week.
And they've already been there and gone, so it didn't happen just a little bit ago. I mean, it's had to happen either real early today or before that, so.
Okay, they must have already had it diagnosed and everything planned before she sent the emails.
She called the office.
Anyway,
So it's
Okay.
$6,100 to replace the air conditioner, you say?
for the outside and inside air, yes. So, okay.
All right, thank you.
But since the entrance is what I wanted, the reason why I came back, to make sure she was aware of it, so,
Okay.
because I know we talked about doing other things, so.
Well,
They might
Could-
want to-
we've hesitated on everything else ADA, and I don't know what we're gonna be doing, because there's other options, but they have to have an air conditioner, so I guess that would all be wrapped up probably, and we'd have to move it. But, you know, it's gonna be hard to put it up there in short notice if they're out of air conditioning. So I guess I'd be willing to just go ahead and let them put it where it's at, because we don't know what we're doing.
That's what my question, what time frame would it take to elevate it or whatever you want to do?
Depends on the company that was doing it. Some of them could just do it. I mean, because depends on if they have to have the brackets made or if they already have some to put on the wall.
I would check into it, and I would probably have a tendency to go ahead and move it. That way, if we do something, it's already there, and if we don't do nothing, it's probably not that much. It's not going to hurt moving it.
Do you know who's doing it?
I don't know anything about it other than that.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, I didn't know whether they had informed you
I
when you
don't
were doing
know,
it. Okay.
And I don't know how many bids they got or if they're just going to go with that because I'm sure.
Find out if
I doubt if
I
it
would-
was any bids.
Unless we're sure we're going to do it, though, I'd hate to do that because it's going to back them up a little bit on getting the prices and stuff. And they're already in the heat. So I just wanted you to know what was carrying on.
Okay, let me ask you this. Can we get a unit now that could be moved on later off in the off season?
All of them could be moved.
Okay, let's do that. Let's get them a unit and we'll discuss it and then we'll elevate it if we choose so.
It'll have to be
fall.
wrapped up when we do the entrance, if we decide to do the entrance. I mean, we
Yeah.
haven't decided any of that.
Well,
so-
I wasn't in favor, but after hearing some things, what I heard, we.
I'm for keeping the building myself, but, because whenever, if we would change buildings, we could have the exact same issues.
Depends on how much we'd give for a new building. The opposite. I'm intending to relocate if we can find something reasonable enough and get a decent price out of that building.
Now, do you talk to whoever does this? Because or do I have the authority to tell them go ahead and replace it? Or?
Well, what would you feel? Would you rather talk to them again and let it, or else it's going to be third-hand information? Maybe if I do it and then have to relay that to you, would you rather talk to them?
I think you need to talk to them, Joe.
Okay, I can run back down there and I'll get a hold of whoever it is and that needs to make the decision. Are you saying that the county is going to pay for the unit?
That was going to be my question. I'd ask, would that be more? Because right now, the county they're responsible for what?
Well,
Use something day-to-day use or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't have a formalized agreement because we couldn't reach agreement on, or consensus on what that agreement ought to be.
I'd shoot for half, see what they say.
Okay.
Well, especially if that organization is willing to pick up part of that, but it's best to know what we're getting into before we get
They
there.
didn't mention anything about anybody paying for anything. I assumed that they were paying for it. So, but I just came up because of the.
You were assuming they were
entrance
paying for it, or that we were?
That they were, but then again, they will probably come back to you.
They might be presuming that we're going to pay for it.
It's
I would
also
clarify
possible that I've been sent an email and I won't get that till I get home unless I could come over into your office and use your computer, and then that way I could see if I've gotten an email on it, and that might give me some more enlightenment.
Okay.
I think probably if you want, why don't you go ahead and go talk to him?
I don't think anybody's there right now. I mean, other than the receptionist. I think she's the only one there. But I can go down and find out who to talk to and get their contact and talk to them.
Well, it would be Kristen Watkins. She got her cell number. Maybe I ought to just. I do believe I have it. Let me see.
I just got the management rep letter from the auditor. Can I go put it on your letterhead so we can get that taken care of today?
Sure.
Okay. I haven't gotten anything from Kristen though, which is what I was checking for.
Got a number, give her a call.
Should I do this on or off camera?
Off. Go out in the hall.
Kristen?
Hallway.
Just a moment. This is Eric Knoll. I heard that Atchison County has air conditioning problems.
Anything, hot topics in the city? It's gonna come out in the Globe.
Not that I know of, I don't really, pretty much got the city, until I read it.
When's the commissioner election? First part of August?
There's not gonna be any primary, so it'll be in November.
Oh, really?
If they were shy of that amount, that is required.
See, I was just thinking there's two up, but it's Mr. Rivas, Mr. Purcell, and Mr. Hausman.
They're the three commissioners, and then Jay Robinson,
There's what, 5 or 6 candidates? Reese or something?
Rizza, I think is his name. He's on the park board, I think.
And
Served on one of the boards, as well as
the
Jay
former,
Robinson.
didn't Rita Hartman run as well? Or not?
I think she
No.
did.
George Ross Jr.?
You know, since this is
Yes.
happening, we're going to be another week before we know. I think we need to hash this out today, Kristen. So,
And the school boards,
Shipley filed, I think, didn't he?
no, he wasn't up. The incumbents, the sitting incumbents, they all filed for 409, and then finally,
okay. Well, I tell you what, I think that
Two people
will probably be a good
filed.
solution to go half, but I will get back with you if there's a problem with that.
I think that Neil boy filed, didn't he, that was up here earlier?
That would be for.
Okay, well, that sounds okay with me. Of course, I got to have run between the other commissioners, so.
And somebody filed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Jeff-
Bye.
I think Justin Motter also filed for.
She said that it just broke down today. She said they had to cancel the appointments for today and tomorrow because snow wind is in there. She said it's sweltering. They would. She said the last thing we done was half, so they would meet us halfway on it if we were willing to do it. They have the guys come in Friday morning to do it. They were willing to they said they will pay the whole thing up front and then they'll bill the county for the other half.
Okay, so they've already got somebody lined up?
They've got somebody lined
Okay.
up. I said thought that sounded like a fair settlement. Had to run it past you guys.
The only thing, now I'm taxpayer Joe, we didn't get any other bids and we got tax dollars paying. I'm glad they're willing to share half, but I would have liked to seen more than one bid. But
She did. Well, she said she fell under the gun because it's hot and they can't. They had to cancel, so she said it's not like they could wait 2 weeks. She said they did run it by. She said it wasn't an actual quote, but one of the other people in their office, father does AC work. They ran the price by him, and everything that he had seen, he thought that they weren't being overcharged. So it wasn't a bid, but it was somebody else looked in on it. I know that that isn't another bid, but that's just what it is. So if you're not comfortable with it, I can call her back. I'm not.
what do you reckon?
That's up to you. I don't know who it was that did it. They gave them the.
Well, it doesn't
bid,
make,
so.
it's not the importance of the name, it's just the importance that we just had one bid and tax dollars are gonna help fund half of it.
Yeah, well, I think $10,000 is the threshold where it's absolutely required.
To get more than one bid,
Yeah,
go with it then, I guess.
it's,
And of course, you can't predict when your air conditioner, but in the future, let's get more than one bid, but go with it.
Okay. Well, I'll get back with her if we choose not to accept it. Okay, Michelle, what is this?
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks,
This
Joe.
is basically the management rep letter from the auditor. It needed to be put on our letterhead, signed by the commissioners, and returned to her. This is basically just one of the last legs of the audit. Attached with it, after the 5-page of the letter, there is an adjustments report.
Oh, okay, that's what this back here is.
They need to all be dated July 5th, which I believe is the date that was on that letter she sent. The letterhead is the 5th, isn't it?
This would be a HR question for Jamie, but we have no response back from Mike Keller on insurance rates.
I know she was trying to get a hold of them. I don't know if she's gotten anything back. Definitely as far as that, the figures. But I know she has put forth the contact effort.
All right.
She will be back on Monday.
I see it down here at Cash Law Library. It reminds me. Did you ever find anybody interested in the law books in the basement?
No, those belong to the law library, but I think Judge Asher would be one to
Talk to. So the letterhead says Atchison County, Kansas, adjusting journal entries. They were different than what we showed. Is that what that means?
From what I understand.
Yeah, but this, see, most of those are posted to a wrong account, so it's basically crediting one account and taking away from the wrong account. Most of that stuff is budget neutral, is when you see the funds add up to the same amount.
Well, here the debit and the credit is the same, but then in parentheses they got 33,000.
That is, what do they call that? Net income effect, and I think what it does is by coming out of certain funds, it can affect the budget. It could affect the budget by 33,000 by coming out of the wrong account. So
I
by
see.
taking it out of the correct account, replacing it, you're balancing your budget, but basically your checkbook might look the same. It would just come out of a different account.
Well, I take it by this figure here that would be the case, because see, they're the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's not like you're short. It was just things posted
It's
incorrectly.
just cleaning up the entries, making sure that the funds are correct. And once this letter and that report are sent back, then she will release the audit report.
One signature.
No, there's three, but we can do that with two. So, well, we'll need to actually make a motion and then sign off on it, won't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the motion would go something like, I make the motion that we go with the adjusted journal entries. Would that be the right wording?
What do they call this letter? Again, it was the representation letter. I would say probably make a motion to accept the representation letter and the journal entries. adjusted journal entries. Does that sound?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, what'd you just say? Say it again.
To accept the
To accept the
represent-
representation letter to make the adjusted journal entries.
I will second that motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Pass 2-0.
Did we get a recommendation letter? What we need to make any changes?
Well, that will be when they actually
Do
release
the audit,
the
right.
actual audit.
The actual
Okay.
audit report, which will be released after this gets back to Carol.
Okay.
And I'm gonna take care of that. I'm going to scan it in, get it sent via email to Carol, the carbon copy to Jamie.
All mixed up. There we go. Okay. I think you said you had a question to me about the tax lid? Or was you wanting to ask, or we want to do that out of session, or?
It doesn't have to be done in session.
Okay.
In fact, you can even explain it to me
Just
in
have,
an email, like what it is and what,
okay.
you know, what.
All right, well, it might be just best, I'll just talk with you after the session and
And I looked at some, like the assessed valuation, from Michelle, and if I interpreted that correctly, a mill is going to be about $130,000, equal to $130,000 each mill. Is that?
well,
I haven't seen it, but I thought it'd be a little bit higher. I thought it was like 150. Of course, we got more valuation. I guess that would lower. So that could be accurate.
the
If I
tax,
was looking at it right,
Michelle, maybe you've had some training on this too. The tax lid wouldn't necessarily limit us on mills. It will limit us on the dollar amount on the budget. So the mill levy could change, but it's the, and there are certain departments like the sheriff, the law enforcement is not subject to it. But most other departments are. I don't have a specific, what else was there that wasn't subject to it?
The library,
Libraries
and any of your special 911, law enforcement. Some counties are even going as far as county attorneys and that type of thing, and some are not, because it's really gray as far as what they can pull out that's not subject to that tax lid.
That's kind of up to interpretation.
But commissions, I don't think are.
Yeah.
and that would make sense, because I think if they have an investigation, those agencies have an investigation, and emergency that rises.
Pat, did you have anything to add on that? I mean, is that the way you understood tax lid legislation?
Yes, and there will be an accountant with the state that's going to go through and calculate based on last year's levy, and I think there's going to be more of a back and forth discussion about the budget. Maybe not as much this year as in future years, but going forward.
So it's not so much the mills.
Levy, it will be the tax dollars. So
The tax dollars can increase by more than the CPI, the consumer, change in the consumer price index.
So there will be a small growth allowance with that. So, you know, that is always misleading when you talk about, well, the mill levy went down, but your taxes may have went up. So
Yes, and I know that's what, and I've noticed that even locally, that some governments like to present it that way, and
yeah, our mill levy went down, but
I try to let people know how much they're going to be paying, like they can't, but then, you know, the county's about the only government I've been covering for the past several years. But, now, of course, you know, there's the school boards and all that. Are they subject to this also, or is it just like?
Municipalities that get funding from ad valorem taxes, so yes. Now, they have some special rules because of the nature of their funding and the
Right.
lawsuits that are going on, so.
But I will still need to know how many dollars a mill is worth,
Okay, that would be,
so.
yeah, and that's, there was a whole formulation. I went to a budget class with Michelle where we actually sat down and went through, you exempt everything that's exempted out of the formula, that sheriff, libraries, etc. And then you took the budget from the last year, times it by the CPI to get the maximum increase. So all of that can be, dollars can be pulled from one budget and switched into another. I mean, you could actually go up quite a ways on road and bridge if you're willing to shut something else down, but as
Yeah.
long as that total for your county. So finding new money is extremely hard. You might swap things around, but you're not going to just put in a new category and start that up. So.
Yeah.
And correct me if anything is wrong here. This is the way I've interpreted it and everything that I've read and talked to the other commissioners especially about. Because at first I was misled. I thought the original was they were capping our mill levies. Well, as your appraisal goes way up, that would still give counties a huge boost every year, a possibility, until it started going down.
Right, because a mill is a different amount every year.
Right.
So, and I've noticed that some governments, oh, well, you know, we went down so many mills, but the taxpayer might be paying
Quite a few
more
dollars.
dollars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's definitely assessed on real dollars.
yeah. So, that's probably a good thing. But it's confusing to write about, you know.
It's a confusing formula
We
because
try
there's a lot
to-
that you add to it, a lot that you take away from
Yeah.
it. Remodel costs, new construction costs. I mean, a lot of that stuff has to do with it as well.
Yeah, and I know some people have the belief that because they write the check to the county, that they don't realize that these taxes are distributed to the respective municipalities, you know. And
Yeah, when
I
the
know that-
tax statements go out, it's the
Yeah.
county's fault because we are the ones that send the bill and we are the ones that collect it. And so everything from townships, libraries, watersheds, schools,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
all. And so when they actually look, and it's most of the time the statement actually has it all broken down there, and most people don't actually look at what that is broke down to.
Yeah, or else maybe they just don't understand it. You know? Yeah, I know I've written some stories. Okay, well, you're going to be paying so much in county tax. And some people, oh no, you're all screwed up because my taxes are a lot more than that, you know. And I have multiple properties. It's like, well, you're probably in multiple municipalities too. But,
Yeah.
you know, you're not just paying the county taxes.
Okay. Is there anything else? Did I miss anything?
I don't have anything.
Pat, did you have something more there?
Yeah, well, you had asked about the NACO. As I read it, if we're not sending a paying representative, a paid registration, that nobody would be able to vote. And I wondered what that was that we talked about last week. Are there two different classifications, one just for members and one for members that are attending? I don't, but as I read this,
I have that letter. It was with my last week's packet. I could go get it.
So what this letter is saying, if no one attends from Atchison County, we don't get a vote?
What the
right.
the letter? Okay, we have to attend to vote? Well, then I
Well-
don't know why they would have sent
I
the.
know, that's what I was
I wonder if that was
confused
something
about.
different. That's I wonder if that's something different than this. And you don't have time to do it next week because it has to be returned by Friday, July 7th. So.
That's what the National Association of Counties yearly conference that is.
Well, what was the last week? What
The
was-
one last week was just the official ballot to
Nominate
Vote.
candidates or vote.
vote for. We had a nomination prior to with Richard.
Yeah, that was the
That
second
was the actual
one.
nomination. This one here was the actual official ballot that we, that you guys, I was able to sign and send in. That has been sent in.
All right.
So
Well,
we don't
that,
think they
that,
would
I
have
think
sent
that's
that.
different from
We have
this.
been different.
I don't think you need to do
elections.
anything since we're not sending a delegate.
Yeah, I read that letter and I didn't see anything that there was any delegate requirements or anything. It was just, it was pretty short and cut and dried. It was,
Just read the red sentence at the end of the first paragraph is,
Mhm.
I've read more, but that's,
The gist of it.
they
It sounds to me like the money's more important. We want your money more than your vote. File it.
And that could be something that goes with the convention. There may be some voting that goes on with the actual convention as far as the
Right.
actual board. You know, Mr. Richard may be just a representative of Kansas, which is voted in by all counties that are part of NACO. But once you go to the actual annual conference, maybe the deciding board is made up by voters just at the convention.
I think this is to get people to participate in the actual conference. This doesn't even have anything to. They're not talking about Richard Malm at all, who was named and that we was the choice to vote for. I think this is something different. My guess.
Coming out of,
no, this is,
pull that off.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and give you that. Okay, with that, do I hear a motion to adjourn at 3:17?
I so move, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We're adjourned.